This the people party.
Live from the Blue Note. Live from the Blue Note. Live from the Blue Note. Live from the Blue Note.
Live from the Blue Note. Come on.
Peace and love, party people. It's Talib Kweli, the BKMC. You are now checking out the world's greatest podcast, The People's Party. Shout out to Jasmine Lee, who's not in the house with us because I'm actually in New York City right now at home. I feel like this place is my home at the legendary Blue Note. And the Blue Note is legendary and important to me for many, many reasons. And today's episode, we're going to keep it all the way New York City. We're going to take it from Brooklyn to all the way uptown to Harlem, New York City. Our guest today is a prolific rapper and songwriter out of Harlem. He started in the battle scene, but he's not just a battle rapper. He has blossomed and bloomed and developed into not just an MC, but a whole lifestyle. He has incredible lyrical skills. He's worked with some of the best. Some of our guests that we've had here on People's Party, like Wiz Khalifa, Dom Kennedy. He's worked with Big K.r.i.t, Kendrick Lamar. He has started a brand, a label, a group, a lifestyle foundation, cinematic music group with his man Shipes. He had the group Smoking Numbers. He is a founder of the iconic Smokers Club. He is iconic smoker, iconic collector of sneakers, and his drip is crazy. He's given us an impressive run of albums, mixtapes. He won the High Times Award, which for me, like, that's a big deal. I used to have a subscription to High Times, you know what I'm saying? So High Times Award is like a big deal in my world. The award-winning super dope Rolling Stone album, the Dream.ZONE.Achieve album, the He Has Risen album, the George Kush, the Bacon, Eggs, and Trees, the Don't Smoke Rock with the legendary Pete Rock, Not For Sale, Closed Mouth Don't Get Fed, Homegrown, which I think Homegrown is my favorite, Full Court Press with Wiz Khalifa, Big K.r.i.t, and Girls Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, I got Smoke Dogg in the house, George Kush, Barack Osama, Kush God, Respectalizing G.
Smoke this is the place to be.
Oh, that was so elite.
Peace.
Oh, that was so elite. That might have been the best intro I ever got.
Well, I had to go through all the names.
Man.
There's a lot of names.
Man, I'm honored, bro.
What's up, DZA?
I'm blessed, man.
Man, we've been talking about doing this for years.
Yeah, man. Like, you know, you one of my favorites, bro. You one of the greatest MCs of all time.
Thank you, brother. That means a lot coming from you.
So to be sitting across from you in one of my favorite places to perform in New York City.
No doubt.
And be on your platform it's an honor.
No doubt. Now, I got the people's party. You got the personal party.
Parties combined.
Yes. We having a party. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we having a party.
I'm going to come do your joint. You know what I'm saying? We're going to roll these out. It's going to be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I think I saw you in person was at West Side Gun, Rock Marciano situation.
Damn, that was a minute ago.
Yeah, I just seen a picture of us recently. That's reminding me of that.
Pre-pandemic.
Yes, pre-pandemic. We was outside. So we at the Blue Note on Not For Sale. You say, let's rule the world and get these Blue Notes and watch jazz at the Blue Note.
That's a fact.
And now we here at the Blue Note. So you said this is one of your favorite venues. Tell me about how you feel about the Blue Note.
I mean, it's one of the most intimate places to perform in New York City, right? And then it's only a selective few people that could even be chosen to perform here, right? So I feel like if you're not a real MC, like, and not just the MC, like an artist, you can't come through those doors, right? So for me to be able to perform here as a guest and have my own sets, it's the most honorable New York thing that you can do as an MC, to let you know that you're in that peak of artists. The Talib Kwelis, the Yasin Beys, the Robert Glasper's, the Keon Harrells. Like, you know, I'm here for those residencies as a fan.
Right.
So to be able to be a part of it is just like, it lets me know I'm in the right business.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage. I'm here at the Blue Note often. The reason I'm even here right now is because I got a run coming up. We got Michelle and Degucello, Rakim, Slick Rick,
God.
DMC, and Bob James that I'm doing next week with the Blue Note. And these are my peoples here. I got my man Devon for RBG, AL Skills. AL Skills is at the Blue Note with me every time I perform Punchline. Of course, it's on the Black Star album, my man Seth Bird. This is the people I'll be with at the Blue Note. So I was like, if I'm going to be at the Blue Note, doing people's party, I gotta have my people in the house.
Gangster.
But let's talk about the fact that you also, off the Respectanize mixtape, you did a song called Get It, which is a interpolation of Get By.
Right.
So I was honored that you did that, and I appreciate it.
Bro, that was 2003. That's my first mixtape.
Right.
So that's just to show you how far, I mean, and even before that, how far I was being a fan of yours to be able to do that. So to be able to talk about a freestyle I did in a million mindsets ago, right, with the person that created the song, it's full circle. It's crazy.
No doubt. And you also got to work with Hi-Tek.
Bro.
Tell me about that.
Wow. Right. So I was mad at Tech for years, bro.
Tell me why.
Because, you know, growing and learning helped me be at peace with a lot of things because I was only upset for my own reasons, right? It really had nothing to do with Tech when you think about it because, you know, when you do business, right, and learning and doing business in this game, right, when you do business, you get what you negotiate.
Right.
Right? And if you negotiate nothing, then you get nothing. And if it's no common understanding, especially as a young artist, then you won't know until you learn. Right? So back when Tech was working on High Technology Volume 2, right?
Which I'm on.
Which you're on.
Good album.
Now bust it. Let me fuck your mind up, right? So can we get back to that?
Which I'm on. I'm on that song. Yeah.
I wrote those verses.
I heard. I didn't hear that back then, but I heard later.
Right. So back then, you know, I was just trying to scratch the surface. I was doing anything I could do to be a part of this brotherhood that we have, this artistry, this conglomerate of hip hop. Yes. Right. And working on that, you know, I felt it was going to go another way. It wasn't even on a monetary game, but got no credit, no nothing from it. So it was just like, it took the wind out of me as an artist because, you know, you expect certain things, but you don't know what your requirements are in order to get what you need to get. So I didn't have any conversations with Tech. I didn't have any conversations with nobody. They put me in the Lion's Den and I produced. And I thought it was supposed to, you know, come full circle and I was supposed to get taken care of, but it didn't happen that way. And then doing business and learning how these certain situations work, I learned that I was wrong and I owe Tech an apology.
Wow.
Right? Because I shouldn't have held him to that. You know what I mean? And I held that for years for no reason. Right? And well, for a reason, but my own reason, where I had to take accountability. Right? So I apologize to Tech for even whatever that energy was. I apologize for that because that wasn't honorable.
You know, we've all been doing this for a long time. And as you mentioned earlier, you were trying to get into this fraternity and you looked at it as a fraternity. And when we're young, trying to come into it, it's romantic in our heads. Like, man, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. And then you get into it and it's business over everything. And, you know, shout out to Hi-Tek. Me and him, we have not always gotten along business-wise in this business. But, you know, we get older and you realize what's important. It sounds like you've had a chance to experience some of that growth. Absolutely. So, you know, I'm sure that he appreciates it. I can't speak for the man, but
it's love. Because, you know, out of the Hi-Tek situation, it got me into the Sean Kingston situation where I ended up getting credit and getting properly compensated and so on and so forth. So it was a learning process, like, you know. So
yeah, you got to pay your dues. You got to pay your dues. I once wrote for Diddy on an album. And it was me and Pharoah Monch in The Game and these writing sessions. He didn't use none of the stuff I wrote. But he did give me some Sean John shoes.
As a consolation prize.
Sean John shoes. I think I might still have them for real, like some Sean John shoes. You have this song called The Early Days of George.
Yes.
Where you talk about your Uncle Kenny. Break down his impact on your life.
My Uncle Kenny Brooks, early 90s, Kenny when the money was coming in books. Shout out to my cousin Kurt. Uncle Kenny was the first person to take me to go see wrestling at MSG, so I'd never forget.
Wow.
My parents are West Indian, so
Guyanese, right?
Guyanese, right? So it was a certain culture that went on in my household. you know, when you have close friends in the neighborhood, right, that you grow close with, and you're in their households just as much as you're in yours, they become family. So you have the family that God gives you, and you have the family that you create, right? And Uncle Kenny was a part of the family that I created. And he loved me like a son, like a nephew, just as much as he loved Kurt, right? And, you know, I never forget him because of the life lessons that he installed in me without telling me, by showing me. Without getting too deep and getting emotional, because nobody ever asked me that. He was an amazing human being.
No doubt.
Amazing human being.
I could tell from the way you talked about him in that song that this wasn't just a bar. This was like real life.
Yeah, nobody ever asked me that. That's ill.
Well, you know, it's people's party. That's what we're doing.
That's ill.
And also, that song samples a record that I also sampled. I got a record called Ballad of the Black Gold about the oil problems in Nigeria, where I used that same sample. So that also drew me to that record.
Full circle moment. Tech produced that joint.
Wow. See how that go? Wow.
Word.
Yo, but how many records you got? That's a lot of records.
I had to think about that because you know what? That when I think about it, it's on that second Reflection Eternal album, but it doesn't sound like automatically a Hi-Tek beat. So I didn't really think about it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, wow, that's dope. See? He do this podcast thing for real. That's what he be doing. You were born in Harlem Hospital.
Absolutely.
February 8th on the 3rd floor.
On the 3rd floor, the
So
yellow
I did my
walls.
research.
The yellow walls.
I know what floor the nigga was born. Because he be rapping about his life and his bars.
Oh, I love this.
My grandfather was born in Harlem Hospital. Oh, man. Lloyd Moorhead. Special place.
Special place.
Harlem is a special place. You on 119th, 50 building. 9 or nothing.
9 or nothing.
9/11.
9/11.
Let's talk about from Brucey B to Big L to Dipset to ASAP, the special place Harlem holds in this culture.
Oh my God. Fashion, culture, lifestyle, Black owned. That's the Harlem that I grew up in.
Yeah.
Now, you know, as growth and things progress, obviously is gentrified. And I'm happy about that because my mother still lives in Harlem. So I love the fact that my mother can be safe in our neighborhoods.
Has access to goods and services that she did.
Goods and services that wasn't available when I was coming up as a youngin'.
Yeah, proximity to whiteness is a motherfucker.
It's crazy, right?
Get you a lot of shit.
Right? But, you know, back then when I was coming up, the hustlers, the gangsters, so to speak, governed the neighborhoods outside of the police. That's who kept us in check. Right? In a certain instance, we learned balance from coming out of good households, most of us, and learning what the streets had to offer at a young age, right? And in Harlem, for me, is where I learned everything. I learned how to rap. I learned how to dress. I learned how to speak. I learned how to deal with people. I learned how to deal with adversity. And I wouldn't be shit if I didn't have where I came from. Because if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going.
That's right.
Right? And I've always vowed as a young kid from Harlem to an adult to always pay it forward. And paying it forward doesn't mean going back and doing frivolous shit for the neighborhood. Paying it forward means spreading the word and letting people know from other parts of the world what section you're from. The fact that you can quote my block, right? I'm pretty sure everybody from my block that watches this podcast will see it and be like, this is what he's doing it for.
That's right.
Right? So, you know, we have a way to generalize things and say, my block. We own nothing.
That's right.
Right? But that's where my experiences are from.
Your family, your people,
my family,
your
my people, my memories.
Yeah.
So that's sweat equity.
Yeah.
For me. Right? So I just wanted to say that because everybody be like, my block. Like, nobody owns the fucking block for real.
No, but that's a very astute way of looking at it. It's like, it's the same way that someone could look at like, spending time with your people on the holidays. Like, we might not celebrate the colonizer holiday or even that mentality of capitalism and the ways, the spending and the greed and all that. But, your people's got time off. You're going to go spend time with your peoples. And it just, and those memories we have mean something whether we participate in the holiday or not. So,
Absolutely.
And then Harlem is just unique, going all the way back to the Harlem Renaissance. It's not just a hip hop. For Black America, Harlem has been a cultural center for a long time. We're just in the hip hop stage of it, but it has to be respected for what it is. It's a mecca. It's definitely a mecca. Like, you have to come through Harlem. I remember growing up in Brooklyn. You had to go to Harlem Week. You had to go to Grand Tomb. You had to go to 125.
The Mart.
You had to go. You know what I'm saying? It didn't matter. It was like, and there's always a rivalry, Brooklyn or Harlem, but you had to go.
For sure.
Dream.ZONE.Achieve, that album, which is an acronym of DZA. I know DZA come from, you were Smokey after the Friday movie, right? Which Friday has a special place in the culture. But then it became Smoke DZA, but then it became Dream.ZONE.Achieve, which I think is which we learned on the show is a backronym. That's an acronym when you start with the letters first and then you go backwards. My man Jay Ivy on Black Independence.
It's my dog.
I just was in Ghana with Jay Ivy.
It's beautiful.
He was out there with that deep voice and them deep-ass poems. On that song, you say, if a rapper ain't doing no shows, it's probably slow because most niggas doing it always be on the road. That hit me in the heart like a dart because that's me. Like, I'm looking at all these rappers who are on the radio, got all these club hits, but once that dry up, it dries up. And just like you, I've never chased the radio or club hit, and it served me well. So let's talk about the benefits of being independent as fuck.
Man, benefits of being independent as fuck. I'm pretty sure you could relate to this. When the pandemic happened and life was in disarray because nobody knew what nothing held for anyone, right? A lot of artists that got their money from clubs and no disrespect to those people because God bless you. Sometimes I wish I can do on that. Well, I probably can, but I just don't want to. But
I mean, you got Santos Party House.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a good record.
It's a great record. I can do my little club circuit thing, go pick up a bag at Starlets and all that, but that's not really the integrity of my artistry, right? And I love money, but I love my craft a little more, right? So when the pandemic happened and everybody was trying to figure it out and a lot of things ended for a lot of people, I didn't feel it because that's not how I make my ends in music. Like, I'm a lifestyle artist and I'm an independent artist where I could take my business and set up shop on the corner of West 3rd if I wanted to, and can't nobody tell me to move my business. I was still making money off music while the world wasn't the world as we know it. So that let me know that, the power of what I'm doing is beyond the structure. And
I like that. The power of what I'm doing is beyond the structure.
And being independent is not just to say I own my master or I signed myself. It means that you got to do the work too, right? Because I think it's a certain stigma that independent artists have because they feel like, or some people will make it as if it's just us doing it, right? And everybody has help. So you could be independent and still have help from a major system, but just not be doing the type of business with that major system that another artist that has a certain structure of a deal is involved in. So I could be independent and have Sony services and still be independent.
Yeah.
Right? So learning the business and learning how to maneuver and proper wording, it helped me understand it a lot more and it helped me see where I was at. So to answer the question, being independent is probably the best thing I've ever done, and banking on myself. Even when it's dark, it's always going to be light at the end of the tunnel.
That was a real Harlem answer.
Yeah.
Now, you're also the Kush God.
That's me.
You're known for smoking weed. You smoke Backwoods.
I smoke Backwoods. Yes, I do.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of Backwoods.
I do. You know what? I smoke Backwoods, but right now I'm smoking Packs and Pearls. And I'm not even, this is not like a cheap ad. This is like, it's like my lifestyle right now. So I just want to be honest and true to my lifestyle. I love Backwoods. Why am I saying it's like it's a commercial? Right. I also, because it's so fucked up, because I was just having a conversation with my brother Marcus Black. Shout out to Marcus. And he was saying, like, bro, are you addicted to nicotine? And I really had to look at myself. You know, I just had one of those moments, right? Because I never smoked a bogey in my life, right? So to hear somebody ask me, am I addicted to nicotine? And I'm like, well, I can smoke papers, but I'm like, you know what, man?
I heard you say that if you're hanging out with somebody from Brooklyn and they have some paper with some leaf in it, you feel fooled.
I feel fooled. Yes. It's like, come on, it's like one or the other. You know what I mean? Like, what we doing here? You giving me a Diet Coke with a little bit of original Coke in it? Like, just give me the Diet Coke. But
because people be addicted to that nicotine,
right? But yeah, and to answer the question, I smoke packs and pearls because it's no different than a cigar. It's just I know the company. It's a cigar company that's been functioning for 128 years. It's a family business. They out of Tampa. It's Connecticut broadleaf, but I know when I get a pack of those, I'm not gonna have to throw away 3 cigars to have a good smoke, because when you buy Backwoods, you don't have many good Backwoods in a pack.
Right, some of them got the veins in them and shit.
Yeah, it's a bunch of shit that's just like...
It's a process. It's a commitment to smoke Backwoods.
All day. There's too much shit going on, and I'm just like, I can't do it. So I fuck with the brothers broadleaf. Shout out to them.
I realized, I had that same realization, because I used to smoke that Dutch Master, that they call it the vanilla Dutch.
I was with you.
I realized, I was like, yo, I'm addicted to these Dutch Masters. So I had to wean myself off of them. I'll still maybe hit it in the right cipher, but it's not my preferred way of smoking anymore.
Yeah, same.
You grew up in New York City when weed was over-criminalized, like me. We used to have the anxiety, especially in the Giuliani era. We smoking bullshit-ass weed, and you're not even getting high because your anxiety from... Do I look high? Do I smell high? You can't even enjoy it. They coming, right? But it's different now.
Yeah, for sure.
Explain, as someone who is still in the home base, mainly in New York, how it feels different from what it used to feel like when it was so over-criminalized.
Man, bro, the only time I've ever went to Central Bookings is because of smoking weed, bro. The anxiety I used to have... You don't even get high you didn't even get high when you were smoking outside because you were so worried about what's going on behind you, right? And like you said, you could be smoking Branson, and you could be smoking Shice Bub Spoudet, right?
Right, shout out to Shice Bub.
And it don't matter what that is, you're going to go to jail if they catch you.
Right.
And now, like it's funny, this weekend, I was going to the Apollo to go check out Kiss, Cam, and Mace, the show.
How was that show? Looked crazy.
It was amazing.
From what I saw, man, wish I could have been there.
It was amazing, right? They had the block pent off and all these officers out there, of course.
I've seen that.
Right. And niggas was just out there smoking their blunts freely.
They had the video cameras and all that, right?
All of that. And niggas is just blowing.
Man, I just seen on Instagram a cop smoking weed.
Oh,
probably on his
girl,
break.
right?
God bless.
You've seen it, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of old. They just
And she bad.
And she bad.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck the police.
Like, yo, right.
No, that's funny.
Yeah, man. So, you know, niggas is just blowing in front of 5-0 now. So it's like, we had to walk so my son could fly.
I like that.
You know what I mean? Because you know, my oldest son is a stoner. He's actually outside in the car right now. He's probably smoking my weed.
How old is he now?
He's 19.
So it's crazy because I seen an interview when I was doing the research for this. interview of you from 4 or 5 years ago. He must have been 14, 15. And someone asked you, yo, you smoke weed in front of your son. How? You was like, man, I do not want my son smoking weed. I'm not trying to encourage him to smoke weed. And I was watching this and I was like, been there. Been there. I remember I did Snoop GGN. Snoop was like, hit this blunt. I'm like, Snoop, my son, he's a fan. He gonna watch this. And Snoop was like, your son gonna be smoking weed. Hit this blunt. And I hit it. I felt so guilty hitting the blunt. It was the first time I had weed on screen because Snoop Dogg bullied me into doing it. Because I was talking about my son. Shout out to Amani Fela.
Oh, man. Yeah, I couldn't hide it. YouTube University.
You sound like
man.
you accepted it by now.
Yeah.
But I remember watching the interview like, oh, yeah. I said, by the time when I sit with him, his son could be like 18, 19.
He's in the game. And, it started with hookah, and I seen the hookah. And I was like, yo, bro, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Right.
Like, you smoking cold, bro?
Right. Like flowers and shit? Like,
but here's
his, like bubble gum?
Here's his response, though. What you mean? But you smoke weed. And then I'm like, well, when did you ever hear of anybody getting cancer off weed? And I gave him all the pros.
You gave him all the high times points.
All the pros.
Talking points.
And I think at that very moment, the light bulb went off like,
I'm switching to weed.
Switch it on you. Or I probably was already there like, got you,
right.
man.
He was playing chess.
He was playing chess. So now I just give him weed. Like, all right, bro, here. Instead of going to go spend my money that I'm going to give you with the whoever.
Yo, you know what's crazy about that is that for me it's the opposite. My son give me weed.
I can't wait till we reverse.
Yo, I pulled out. Remember, he was at the crib like holidays. I pull out my shit. My son pull out his shit. Like, damn, where you get that from in New York, bro? Who you be around? Because I had to show him. You can't have better weed than your dad. I had to show him. When he started pulling out the good shit, I was like, wait. I had to like change the way I moved. But like you have always said, it's not just about the weed. It's about a whole lifestyle. Part of that lifestyle is the clothing, the gear, the drip. Now, I got some certified lowheads, lowlifes, if you will, in the house. You know what I'm saying? And I know how you move. And shout out to Mayhem Loren and shout out to Thurston Howell. I wanted to see if y'all had any gear questions specifically about low.
Oh, yeah, I got one.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
So what was your first time being introduced to low? Because you're a Harlem cat, right? A lot of the Brooklyn cats were coming into Manhattan. So was that what it was?
My first time introduced to low, definitely before high school. But I wasn't a low head before high school. I wore Nautica. I wore Pepe. I wore Pele. I wore Mecca. I'm a Nietzsche. Right? So
that's like 90s.
It's NYC too. It's not even a Nietzsche. We just gave our own fucking pronunciation of it.
That's the time he was modeling for Willie Esco back then.
Gangster. See, I'm 38. So
yeah, I got 10 on you.
The errors is a little gap. But when I really started to abuse Ralph Lauren, right, was when the rugby brand came out.
That's fire. I got you. You used to go to the store right here
on 13th and University.
I became an addict too because I was getting the shirt, going out there buying the patches, getting them put on.
Yes.
And then you had a custom shirt 1 for 1.
Exactly.
So that's the Harlem shit. That's a Dapper Dan.
Custom.
So what was your preferred method of boosting?
I wasn't a booster.
So
I was a buyer.
You was a buyer?
I was a consumer. Because, like
he said a Nietzsche. By the time you get into a Nietzsche era, the boosting was over. It's over.
Yeah, the security was so high.
Now I had some homies that
on your shit.
I had some homies that was getting busy for sure. I had some homies that would. I don't want to give the game away, but it doesn't matter because I'm not in the game, right? So I had some homies that would take the pliers to the joint and do their little work, clippage, pow.
So you was getting a half price sweater new.
At times, I was getting half price sweater new. And then at times, I was being so much of a consumer that I was just getting discounts.
See, you like the opposite of me. We both born in Harlem Hospital, right? But I'm raised in Brooklyn, all right? Around a bunch of West Indians and their culture. You, on the other hand, are West Indian and raised in Harlem.
Yo, y'all just... Yo, y'all the bizarro version.
Right. Because let me tell you, when I moved to Harlem, right, I got uptown.
Because he live in Harlem now.
Okay,
Right,
okay.
That's why I was like, I got to catch a ride with him, the Drogs. Because you going up anyway.
I grew up with West Indians. They used to be like, yo, dirty Americans. I was like, I started washing chicken, lemon, vinegar, the whole shebang, right? And then I got uptown. When I moved uptown, I was an adult. I got uptown and I said, oh, this what they talking about. They wilding out here. They wilding out here. They wilding out here. So, when you was coming up, right? Did you do like the Labor Days, Juve nights and all that? Or you was
Of
Harlem,
course.
like out with the crew?
All my cousins is in the K. And in Queens and shit.
So you was you came up really...
Right. But not even that. I even went there to go see my cousins. I got cousins I ain't seen since the last funeral I've been to, right? So I never really was with family that I had in Brooklyn that's, West Indian. I would go there with my friends to go find bitches.
Yeah, no.
That was what we would do.
That's why we went to Harlem.
That's why we went, right.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
And
so Juve was the time where
that's if you was really committed.
You had to be really committed. This is the beef. This is the chat line era, right?
The
for guys like us,
the Brooklyn Loach,
right? So after going to the Skate Key Empire, right, and then Grant's Tomb and all that type of shit, right? Doing that, Juve, that's like a overnight thing, right? So for one, you got to be built to last and built to win. And be built to survive.
That's West Indian.
I'm an uptown nigga, right? But I'm an uptown nigga though, and I got no business in Crown Heights.
I'm a Yankee.
Yeah,
I'm a Juve night painting powder. Wave your flag.
But the shit's so live and it's so much love because if you walk with love, it could be nothing but love.
All night,
right? And even before I understood what love was, I was given that shit. So I was always protected with love. So going out with my homies back then in Juve and shit, we ain't never have no run-ins with no Brooklyn niggas over no...
Let me tell you.
It was too much shit going on out there.
Nobody know you a Harlem nigga until you scream that shit.
Facts. And then Brooklyn niggas is looking for Brooklyn niggas. They not looking for Harlem niggas.
Yeah, because let me tell you.
Juve is international. I'ma find you day.
Exactly.
And international, I'ma find you day.
I'm from Crown Heights. Old timers there.
Wow.
We ain't being looked for. So being out there, we just, we out here for the ladies and the vibe. We ain't out here for the pop, pop, pop.
Right.
So
shout out to Joseph and Faye.
Word. Oh, man. Oh, man. Shout out to my parents.
Now, you started out, shout out to Numbers. Yeah, Smoking Numbers.
My brother.
Y'all was battle rapping in Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
I seen you all over the YouTubes battling early start. They got me on Caffeine, watching battle raps on Caffeine.
Shout out to Caffeine, man. Shout out to my guys over there.
Yeah, that shit is hilarious to me. Like watching battle, how serious they take it with the commentary and the whole, and like what the funniest part about it is, I'll be on the group chat. We be watching on a group chat together because we have certain age. We should be on a group chat, and the way in which the performer gets so frustrated because there's so many people there yelling and so much noise you can't even hear him rap.
Hold it down.
It's 20 minutes of that. I'm like, if they fix that part, it's gonna crack off.
Nah, that's the energy.
See,
but if you're not in the room, if you're watching that on your phone, it's like, can I just get to the bar?
Yeah, or it's more like a comedy show. Once they start laughing, as a comedian, you let them laugh till they stop. You don't step on that. So when you do the haymaker and the room go crazy,
I think comedy show. I get the concept. Now, I'm a huge wrestling fan. Huge. So, I mean, no slight when I say this. It's more WWE.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely what it is.
Now, I got a lot of friends in WWE. And this is not to say that anything is the F word. Because these guys really get hurt performing at a high level. Now, battle rappers, that shit is a skill. I don't know if I could last a minute and 50 seconds in that type of structure. Not to say that I don't got the bars to do it. Now, you put me on a beat with one of these niggas, I'll annihilate them, right? But you put me in front of them niggas in they stage with that crowd that's going to react if you stumble. if you make a certain face, that shit is a skill.
Yeah.
And they live and provide off that shit. And I got the utmost respect for them boys because that shit is intense.
As an MC, there's a bunch of MCs in the room. As an MC, part of the thing about being MC is to, especially from the era we from and the place we from, you got to know you the nicest. You got to think and believe and know full well that you the nicest and nobody is better than you.
For sure.
And so I'm sure you think that about yourself and I think that about myself. But I also know, just like I know how good I am, I know exactly how good I am in any given context or situation. And watch the battle rap, I'm like, there's no way I'm jumping in that arena just cold. Like, I really thought about this. Like, if I chose to or I felt like I had to compete in that space, what would I have to do? Well, I would have to not do this podcast. I'd have to not do a lot of shit. I'd have to focus.
It's like boxing.
And I'd have to just dedicate my life to that. Yeah. I'd have to just dedicate my life, not just to training my mind and training myself how to react and respond, but also to just watch battle rap and to go to the events and know who's who and know. And I'd have to do that for at least a year. I give myself at my skill level. I give myself, because I know how ambitious I am, how dedicated I get. At my level of skill, I'm like, it would have to be at least a year before any words came out my mouth for me to even jump in that arena.
So in a year from now, we got y'all two competitors that would do it. We could do it at the Blue Note.
See, now here's the thing. Murda Mook is one of my childhood friends, longest friends I've had, right? And he's the greatest battle rapper of all time.
Arguably.
It's the greatest battle rapper of all time.
My money's still on Lux.
It's the greatest battle rapper of all time.
Later.
Right?
Harlem has spoken.
And it's both Harlem.
Shout out to Lux.
Because Busted, right?
We got hot for
y'all got Jay-Z. But look, it's and y'all got Talib Kweli.
Thank you. Conversation's done.
Right. It's 1A and it's 1B. And that's Mook and Lux.
Okay.
The preparation that those guys take to put into their craft is some shit I never seen before, man.
It's Rocky, the training.
It's boxing.
It's like
it is.
Because he's like
training.
it's like Floyd and Ali, Floyd and Tyson, whatever comparison you want to make to those guys. Like, and they get paid great money for 3 rounds.
Which God blessed them for that too, because they're the pioneers
of that. Of even getting structure, getting paid, right? So we get great money for putting out albums. And touring and doing great shows. They get great money for 20 minutes. And they could go back into the abyss and do that shit whenever the fuck they want to do it again. Right? But the preparation and skill and dedication and patience and learning and reciting and actually, like, talking to Mook, I will always ask Mook, like, yo, how do you do it? Like, what drives you to come up with these shit, these verses for the people you go against? He said, yo, bro, I just look at them and I hate them. Like, I have to find.
That's a common answer.
I have to find a reason. He's like, he's fucking like Michael Jordan. Like, I have to find a reason to hate them. Like, oh, he said something about my mother. Oh, I'm going to use this. My mother dead. I'm going to use this shit, and I'm going to like, that's his.
It reminded me of what Nico said, because I got an artist I work with. Nico is. Do you know Nico?
I don't.
I got an artist. Nico's very good at the freestyle. Very good bar for bar MC. One of my favorite. So good that I'm like, yo, you could do that. You good enough to do that. And I'm like, why don't you never do that?
Because he's not aggressive.
He said he's not aggressive at all, but he said, I can't use my rap powers for evil.
Is this, he does shit with Rhapsody?
He's been on a lot of songs with Rhapsody, because I did an album.
I did a record with Nico not too long ago.
Yeah, from Brazil.
He cool. He cool. Hell yeah. Light skin cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Humble.
The best hair
was a
in the
motherfucker.
Best hair in the biz.
The best hair in the biz.
Light skin, that's what we'll say.
That's how we light skin. You know that later on today is going to...
Sure, from now on, you light skin, Nico, from now on.
Just light your The hood has named you. Harlem named you light skin.
Oh, man, that's funny. But nah, the fucking... The preparation that it goes into doing that shit, man, that shit is some whole other shit.
Word up.
Did you ever see when it was Loaded Lux and Hollow doing a 2-man battle?
I love those.
Right, the 2-man. Here's the preparation Lux put in. He took the both of them and went to like the Colorado Rockies.
Mm-hmm.
They running through the mountains every day, breathing, exercising, doing the rhymes.
I love those. Those are the most entertaining. Like seeing the because it went to that double team tag team. That shit is entertaining like a mother. Like,
Evolution of
that.
battle rap.
The
evolution
of battle rap.
Yeah. I came from that battle rap from 90s. Doing it with a beat.
I seen you on some L battles. I heard you on the radio back in the days.
Oh man, we did our thing back then. But you know, like, and I seen Little Jin. Jin was like under training from us, listening to us, going to New York and listening to us, and he took from us, and I was happy to see that, to see what the evolution of battle came to.
See, that's gangster because I'm a wetlands baby.
Oh yeah,
right. So I come from battling at the wetlands and slam from the street. Shout out to Modal Technique. And, and I've always, one part of the era that I wish I grew up in rap. Shout out to Perry. I always wanted to be a part.
Shout out to Perry, who came here on his lunch break.
Right, on his lunch break. I always wanted to be a part of Lyricist Lounge.
Right? Here you go. Right here.
Right, because I feel like that's the era of hip-hop that I was supposed to be a part of.
You are. Word is bond.
At heart, like I honor y'all.
That's why I keep sounding strange with the age difference. Because we keep talking to you like you was there.
I ain't know he's 10 years below. Right. That's crazy though.
When I found out about this, I said, let me go, because I know some of your joints, you know what I'm saying? Right. I said, let me go and check out the catalog. And I hit Tidal. Scrolled across like I was playing the Wheel of Fortune. I said, yo, how many joints?
A lot of music.
I did a lot
he
of
just
rapping,
mentioned that Benny the Butcher album. That's a good one, too.
That's my favorite.
Right. Thank you,
As what y'all did on that album, I was happy. Y'all, the back and forth, she was fire.
Yeah, the way they was back and forth on the bar like EPMD style.
Yeah.
We did that shit in the studio together. Every song.
Every song, right?
I had to ask the question, right? Because I had asked him one time, we was doing something. I said, what's your secret to staying in the game with those people? He said, I just got to keep on rapping, right? So when you on these bars and on these songs, because you got a lot of little collab joints, you walk in there like, I'm about to murder him.
Everybody.
Word up.
That's how you got to do it.
Word up.
Everybody, right?
I love everybody too, because like I said, I'm not even there for that.
Right.
He sound like Nas being interviewed by Flex. I do this for love. It's the art of wars. I love you, brother.
That's battle rap right there. That's exactly battle rap.
I love this shit, but
you know, right now,
I just want to not, and I got, at first, it was a point in time where of course, every MC, you should start like that, right? And then when you start to become an artist and you try to like conform and get out of that way of thinking, then it's like, all right, I'm just here to do a song. All right, let's just do a song. My first time working with Kendrick, great story. So the record that ended up being unfolded to the world was a way different record at the beginning, because the record started off with me, Kendrick, K.r.i.t, and Dom. Sean C and LV produced the joint.
Good dudes.
Legendary hitmen. And something happened with the beat to where we couldn't use the beat for some reason. And I don't know what happened, why K.r.i.t and Dom, why we didn't use those verses, but it just ended up just being me and Dot on the song. And the name of the song is How Far We Go. Randomly, I might go on Twitter and search my name, and that song might come up, and some people say that's one of Kendrick's best verses.
It's a dope verse.
Right. My people kept telling me to redo my verse. Right. And I was telling them niggas, fuck y'all niggas, man. I'm not redoing nothing. What y'all niggas talking about? And then I heard his shit, right?
Here we go. Right, here we go. I'm waiting.
And then I heard his shit. And I said, all right, man. I see what y'all talking about. I'm going to redo it a little bit, right? And that's what's there. And I regret not going for his fucking juggler, right? Because that verse, this nigga ran so crazy on that song that I don't even think some people remember I was on the song. Right? And I love Dot
This your
so
song.
much I can't
Right,
wait.
it's your album.
It's my song,
Mhm.
right? I love Dot. We did it again. We had to do another song because I had to get my get back. Right? But shout out to Dot. I always wanted to tell that story because a lot of niggas don't say when they get got
Man,
on the
I got
joint.
a song called Push Through. My ex-wife used to have a radio show with Devi Dev and DJ Q Left Effects. And they had you and I as guests. And they brought k.r.i.t Kendrick. And that's how I met him. I heard him rapping.
Before Section 80.
You know, I'm smoking a joint outside of, because the show was in my garage. I hear this voice rapping in my garage. Something I never heard before. I went in, I'm like, they had this record out. Bitch, I do this. They had that record out. So I was like, yo, who the fuck is that? They're like, oh, that's Kendrick Lamar. Exchange numbers. He hit me when he came to New York. We did a record, Push Through. Me, him, and Currency. Shout out to Currency.
My brother.
Right? Currency was the only verse in the record was Currency verse. So I'm like, I'm playing Kendrick a lot of music. He's like, I want to get on that with Currency. His verse, like he said, he ran off with it. Now, I don't know what he's about to become. So everybody verse 16, I'm like, he got like a 32 bar verse. I cut his shit down to 16.
Right.
I sent him the shit. He was like, no, that's not how it go. And I was impressed by that. Because I'm like, he stood his ground, even though he's the new kid. And I touched up my verse too. But that's the same shit, that same energy. Like, he was coming to that situation like, I'm going to out-rap these niggas, even if I have to have more bars. And that whole King Kendrick energy.
Gave me 64 bars, bro. It was like a 60.
Let me tell you.
Only had like 16, maybe 24. I'm like, damn, this nigga went a whole 60.
But that's a lot.
And you better not cut my balls.
You better not cut my shit.
Shout out to John,
Shout out
man.
Kendrick.
My nigga, man.
Now, we were talking about battle rap. You are arguably one of the most successful battle rappers, because a lot of battle rappers who, you know, you kind of pivoted at some point.
Yeah.
You got with Shipes. Shout out to Johnny Shipes. I don't think he gets
my
enough.
brother. Shout out to Johnny.
Cinematic Music Group. I don't think y'all get enough props for what y'all bring to the game. But tell me about meeting him.
It's my best friend in the whole world, man. Love him. The brother I never had. Shit. All right, so back when I was battling and being on 42nd Street and going from the high school tours when we going to Art and Design, we going to King, we going to Park West, we going wherever's niggas rapping, the hottest rapper, I'm on you. I'm from Brandeis.
Shout out Brandeis High School.
Shout out to Brandeis, you know what I mean? Not for the weak.
At all.
Right? So doing all of that, like I said, I just always wanted to find a way to be involved and be a musician for real. I never knew exactly what I was going to do, but I knew where I was going to go, right? And I knew it was all about having resources, right? And I grew up with Rex and Mook, and I could have went the same way that everybody else went. And the first person to ever put me in the studio was T-Rex to rap on a beat, which was a Ron Browse beat. First studio I ever went to was in Ron Brow's apartment on 127th and Lenox, his mom's crib. And from doing that, I got a love of recording and learning how to structure 16 bars and learning what an actual bar is. I met Ferris Bueller. Shout out to Ferris. Battling curtains on 42nd Street. And Ferris introduced me to Shipes. Shipes was running this battle named Slam from the Streets, where it was a fusion of and1 basketball and battle rap. And it was a DVD at this time.
Yep.
I think it was like 02, 03. I ended up battling Immortal Technique in that battle. That was my first time meeting Tech.
It's a fun battle.
Formally. Very fun battle. I think it's on YouTube. They gave it to Tech, but I really won. It was for 500 in the two-way, and I wanted that 500 in that silver Motorola so bad. I was so angry, but I ended up winning because the constellation was a friendship and a brotherhood with Johnny Shipes for life. And I'll take that over 500 in the two-way any day.
I know that's right.
Right? And he believed in me when nobody believed in me. He gave me chances that it wasn't fathomable. And, you know, we learned from each other. Like, we was both learning as we was building, and we built the bricks of cinematic, the house, together.
Now, I feel like you are the foundation of cinematic, and you have had a hand in a lot of things that Johnny has done. But for people who don't know, can you run down some of the artists that he's been involved with, helping to catapult and jumpstart their career that people may not know?
Johnny Shipes is the gold miner. Johnny Shipes found me. He found Big K.R.I.T. He found Joey Badass. He found Nipsey Hussle. The first time I heard Nipsey Hussle was 2005. I remember Johnny being so excited about this kid he found from LA. And Johnny is a Upper West Side kid that is infatuated with hip hop, all forms of it. And he loves the gangster shit.
Right.
And at the time, you know, this is the 50 Cent era. Rap was aggressive. I never been to South Central at this time. I've heard of Rolling 60s. I know what gang culture is from the minimal gang culture we have in New York. I say that respectfully because LA is bred off gang culture. We're bred off lifestyle, entertainment, fashion. LA is bred off gang culture.
Yeah.
Right. So Johnny is like, yo, man, I met this kid named Nipsey Hussle. Steve Lobel is working with him. Shout out to Steve. And this guy named Big U. He's the head of the Rolling 60s. And you got to come with me to LA because I'm going to go meet with them. I'm bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Like I said, this is my dog. I'll walk with him to the end of earth.
Right.
We out. We land, staying at the Roosevelt Hotel. Big U and Steve come through. You know, they having their conversation. I'm just a fly on the wall. I've been the flyest fly on the wall for a long time.
I like that.
Right? And, you know, they talking about this kid and they like, you know, you going to come with me to the hood. We going, you know, I'm going to introduce you to him. We take a cab because it wasn't Ubers at this time. And they let us off in the hood. And I would never forget. I'll never forget it. It was like, I always call it like the Rough Rider workout. You know, when you like when you walk into like somebody's backyard and it's the whole setup, the bag, the weights, the bench, and it's all the homies flagged up back there just working out, and I'm just at all like, this is some real boys in the hood shit. Like I never seen this.
I walked right into it.
And here comes Nipsey Hussle. I knew he was a star the first time I seen him. Just even by the conversation, the energy that he had in the conversations he was holding. He was always that guy. He was always the guy. Johnny has a sixth sense in seeing it in people before they can see it for themselves. Right? And he's an ill one, man.
Yeah, man.
You know, for every artist, it's a personalized story.
Yeah.
Because every time the first time he met that artist, I was there.
Yeah.
Right? So I seen it. I seen these people before they become what the world sees them.
Yeah, you got real songs with Nip, not no made up shit.
No made up shit.
Word up.
Shout out to Joey. Joey's doing fucking amazing, wonderful things.
Shout out to Joey.
You know,
my son, Amani Fela, the first
too.
person put me on to Joey Badass when he was 16. He was like, I asked him who his favorite rapper was. He had Joey Badass. I never heard of this dude.
That's hard.
Yeah.
So, do your kids not call you their favorite rapper either?
My kids act like I don't rap.
See, my kids rap on my new album. I got a new album with Madlib Liberation. Both my kids is rhyming on this new album. But they in their mid-20s now.
Word.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
I gotta check that out.
they better than that.
Yo, it's me 2.0.
Is you 2.0?
It's me 2.0, maybe 3.0.
Hold on, wait, time out.
Yo.
Especially the girl.
Yo.
Kill both of them.
Oh, I gotta check it
Shout
out.
out to
That's
Deani.
hard. Now my kids know I rap. My son, obviously, you know, I watch him watch me, so I know he looking at everything I do. You know, I don't know if he's trying it. He hasn't tried it. My baby girl, she knows who her father is, but she's like, I'm like Clark Kent to her, and the Superman shit is for the world, and she's for that.
Right.
Everybody that honest, that she's like, it's just my dad. And then my youngest son, he just loves me. He don't give a fuck about nothing. He just want to hang out.
Shout out to the kids.
Yeah, shout out to my
now
babies.
you shouted out Shice Bubs earlier. And y'all got the Smokers Club.
Yeah.
Y'all got the Smokers Club Festival coming.
Yeah.
I look forward to Smokers Club Festival, but walk us through that first sort of Smokers Club show at South by Southwest when y'all first started really cracking off Smokers Club.
Man, first Smokers Club show in South by Southwest was probably one of the best hip-hop shows I've ever been a part of because it was the beginning of the blog era. Myself, Wiz Khalifa, Currency, K.r.i.t, J-Rock with a young K.r.i.t, right? When Kendrick was
J-Rock was
hype man.
on Warner Brothers. I was on Warner Brothers when J-Rock was on Warner Brothers.
Devin the Dude headlined that show. We had a great time.
I was around running them streets in Austin back then.
Before it got commercialized.
Yeah. So I remember that era.
Yeah. South by Southwest was the gauntlet for us to actually learn how to perform too. And to be able to perform in front of these faces that you will see profiles for. Because this is the internet era, and you know, a lot of the Meccas and SKs and Shakes and Hoffs from On Smash, it was just an account, right? When you got on the internet. But when you go to South by Southwest, you get to put the face to the account, and you get to have genuine relationships with these guys that are resources, because at this time the bloggers were the new DJs, right?
It's like one-stop shopping for relationships and networking.
Literally. And Right was where we'll put a Smoke DZA and Talib Kweli, where you will be able to see my shit, right? We were able to be recognized by people that we love and honor and look up to by being on these same platforms. So we looked at these guys as the plugs because they was getting us there. Yeah, South by Southwest, interesting time, but Smokers Club, that first show was the beginning of something that we've been doing for over 10 years now, which is putting on shows, experiences, that turned into tours, that now turned into a festival that we do once or twice a year. And you know, we just looking forward into advancing and growing and progressing into, you know, this conglomerate for what we want it to be.
It's dope how the plant brings people together.
Man,
and shout out to K.r.i.t and Currency, who these guys are some of my best friends in this business, and Wiz, of course, and
mine's too.
You know, everybody who and Girl Talk, y'all get a project with Girl Talk.
Greg, that's my guy.
The Full Court Press, that's a dope project.
Thank you, man.
The cover of that project makes me feel like this is Smoke DZA's life. Like the way y'all look, because everybody comfortable. There's no fake smiles, all genuine smiles, genuine energy. And I could tell from me being an artist, I'm like, oh, that's just a regular candid studio session.
Literally.
Picture. That's not no photo shoot, no nothing. Someone just captured a moment and it's perfect. Nobody trying to like, everybody
we was all in our own essence. It was either, I was laughing. So it was either I was laughing at my own joke.
Loud.
I was either laughing at my own joke that I said to one of them, or I was laughing at something that one of them said. But, you know, those guys, like you, are some of my closest friends in the business and outside of the business too. So it was a milestone reach for me to be able to actually sit down with my guys and put together a body of work that we could say, this is us.
That's right.
Right.
And we had Wiz on the show, and if I remember correctly, Wiz gave you credit for putting that project together.
Because I was kind of like
you was point man.
I was like the conduit in a lot of ways. Like, for a lot of my guys, they know once I'm involved, okay, he's involved, it's a little easier.
Right.
You know, all right, Smoke is doing it, all right, fuck it, I'll do it.
I'm the same way in my crew. I'm the same way.
So it was one of those, like, you know, I would do a session with Girl Talk, and then Girl Talk is slick too. That Greg is a slick motherfucker, man. Because, you know, and I say this in a great way, because the way he put together and manipulated that album was some real mad scientist shit. He would fly, or better yet, first class organization, that guy and his squad. It would start with a text from one of his people. Hey, Smoke, how you doing? You want to work with Greg wherever you want to work at in the world. Just let us, where you feel comfortable working.
Right.
All right.
People sleep on that part of the creative process, making it comfortable and creating a situation where the vibe is right.
Absolutely.
Like putting a room together.
Absolutely.
That's a real skill in terms of making music.
Absolutely.
How to put a room together with not just the artist, the engineer too.
Everything got to be in sync.
I got one engineer. I'm about to fly him in today. When I finish talking to you, I got to figure out what flight he's going to get on. It's not cost conducive. I could find an engineer in New York. And as they know, my engineer, I love him to death. He be annoying me sometimes. But
it's the energy though.
But it's like, yo, he's the right dude in the room when it's time to record.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's all about energy, man. And he, first class organization, they provided the energy for it to be what it is. And I'm very proud of that project. I wish circumstances would have had it grow further than it did, but I'm glad it's in the atmosphere.
Well, yeah, it's no fear of time, as they say. You have so many other projects. You got RFC projects. You got your own stuff. You at one point you put out 4 or 5 projects a year.
It's like my over-under.
The Pete Rock project, I feel like you changed the game with that.
I think so too.
I don't feel like people noticed it as much, but I do feel like for me personally, something shifted because you were part of this 2010, so that everybody who was on that freshman cover in 2010, everybody who came out of Smokers Club, ASAP there was a new thing going on in New York with A-Life and Currency and Crit and all this new energy. And here you come saying, reaching back with Pete Rock, and you had Pete Rock looking like a gangster on the cover. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all was, you know what I'm saying? Did the whole photo shoot. Don't Smoke Rock was a great name for the project. Tell me about why you chose to work with Pete Rock.
I carried Pete Rock's crates to get in the club when I was underage.
Wow, okay, so you paid your dues in that way.
Paid my dues.
On the BLS era.
On the BLS era. Pete Rock was one of Shipe's first big clients. I knew him from then. I had did a record called Dear Winner, Flying Lotus. I was ripping Flying Lotus's beats off YouTube and rapping on them to get his attention.
Good plan.
Great plan, because now I got an album coming out with him in like 2 months.
Look at God.
Right? Look at God, right? So Pete Rock heard that song, and he didn't even know I rapped. Because I never solicited my rap shit to him, because I always wanted the people I respected to just find me how they stumble upon me, and let's just work from there, because I don't want to work out of nepotism. I want you to really fuck with me. And nepotism comes with favors. And I don't want it to be
expectations.
I don't want it to be that. I want it to be because you want to work with me. He heard Dear Winner. He found out Smoke DZA was me. And he was like, yo, what the fuck? You never even told me you rap, boy. Like, yo, we gotta work. That we gotta work probably stretched out to a year after that. And then I got a text from Funk Flex. Flex is like, yo, my brother, I'm working on a mixtape. I want you to be on it. It was an honor. He's like, I'm going to send you a Pete Rock beat. I'm like, wow. Rap on a Pete Rock beat. Pete gets in the studio with me. That was the birth of Don't Smoke Rock. Because after he seen how I work, because, I don't write. I got a certain process of how I do my shit. And I think he was impressed with that. And he wanted to do 15 more songs. If anybody works with Pete, they know Pete is coming with the MPC with DATs. Right?
Yeah.
Or he'll give you a CD with a bunch of beats that's maybe 59 seconds to a minute.
Yeah. That,
it's either you loop it and do it incorrectly, or you get in with him to get it the right way.
Yeah.
Right? And I got it the right way. Else it wasn't going to come out because it's Pete Rock. And Pete Rock is not fucking playing.
No, he's not playing at all.
He's not playing at all.
He showed up at my session with the MPC.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not the MPC. It was the SP.
The SP.
The SP. He showed up with the SP and did that and just played beats. And then,
So that album came from that. I remember, actually, I'm pretty sure you probably got that question, so I won't even cut your legs on that. But that album was a great album to work on.
No, go ahead. I want to hear what you think I got.
Right. So, so the first time before we had a feature on the record, he asked me, he said, who you want to work with? And I paused, and because it was at that time I had worked with damn near everybody, right? So I'm like, who haven't I worked with for real? And I'm a huge Rick Ross fan. Ross had just came home. I was like, man, I want to work with Ross, man. Ross got that shit. He was like, word? Rose? I'll text him right now. I said, you ain't gonna text that nigga right now. He texted him. He hit him back. Send it. Smoke DZA. He said, smoke DZA. Exclamation mark.
Right.
Send it. Ross sent the verse back 2 days later on house arrest.
Wow. Well, thank you for having Ross on a Pete Rock beat, because
that was the first time.
That was the first time. And
first time for
the
Cam
culture
too.
didn't know that they needed that. Bermucci, I did have that question about Rick Ross. We cut it because I cut it because I'm like, I had other things I need to ask, but that was on the original draft.
You're a real journalist, conversationalist.
Yeah.
So I knew it was coming.
That was
I didn't want to cut your leg.
But I did want to ask you about Mac Miller. Rest in peace to Mac Miller. Right? Now, the reason I want to ask, not just because of the obvious, because we lost the brother and he's such a fantastic musician and you had him on until then, but his verse on the song. He's talking about dying and being reincarnated, and he's rapping as if he came back. And the hook of the song is, I'm going to be nice until nice comes back. That song feels like prophecy.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
I felt it the first time I heard it. It was a surprise verse for me because Mac is my friend. Mac used to send me verses and beats, right? And I didn't reach out to Mac to be a part of Don't Smoke Rock. Pete did. And when I got the verse back, when he played it for me, he didn't even tell me what was going on. He just played it. And I heard Mac, and he was like, yeah, surprise. We surprised you, right? And I remember texting Mac like, you sneaky motherfucker. Like, man, you bodied that. Thank you.
Yes.
Because this is real. This is in his peak of an artist. And he loved hip hop so much. He loved rap so much. He had his own rap camp. I remember spending the Thanksgiving with Mac after Rock the Bells, I want to say. And I had only my family that rap gave me. And Mac is like, come to the crib. And I ate with Mac. And he moved to California, right? So, hearing that verse and just the prophecies that was on that verse, because we lost him not too long after that, right? Beautiful, man. Beautiful soul. Beautiful person. His first time in New York City was stopping by at Shipe's crib and recording with me at a young age. So
he's on my new album as well. Shout out to his family for blessing us with be able to release this verse on the Liberation. My favorite project by you is Homegrown. That's the one.
That's the one.
What is that your favorite?
One of them is my favorite rollout.
You got a lot.
It's my favorite rollout. Perry was a part of that rollout.
All right, good job, Perry. That was a good one. 2020, you waste no time coming out hard out the gate with Cam and Jimmy, which for a Harlem dude got to be very important. You've enjoyed a relationship with the Dipset and all of them, but that record, Jimmy's verse, Jimmy started out as not being known as a rapper, but by the time you get to him on Homegrown, that's a fully realized MC.
Now let me pick it up there. While they was picking up blocks, I was picking up squares.
Yeah. Yo.
Yeah.
And nobody is a slouch. Nobody is whack on that record, but his verse. I mean, your lyrics on that verse, you say, I got every hype sneaker, but that's a poor man's floss. That's a bar right there. And it makes me think about your sneaker situation with the show, with Caffeine.
Yeah.
Because it's like you understand what it is. I do this because I want to do this, not because I have to do this.
For sure.
And you understand what it is in the hierarchy of everything, but we still got these kicks. You know what I'm saying?
And my meaning to it also was, we got it, but the shit don't mean nothing.
Right.
I got every hype sneaker, but that's a poor man's floss.
That's a poor man's floss.
But dude, you got a pair of Crocs.
I got Crocs. I got Salehi Bembury Crocs.
This
what I mean? In flavors. For wifey too. You know what I
This
mean?
whole episode has just been derailed.
I got it all. Feet pieces is feet
Now, the
pieces.
hood is rocking Crocs.
You know what I mean?
I will acknowledge,
Yeah.
we make fun of my friend for wearing Crocs all
It's
the time.
very comfortable.
Thank you,
I wear
sir.
them in the airport, all that. The fly
But
joints.
do you wear them in sports mode, though?
Yeah. Sweats? Olas? How we gotta do it?
I can't, bro.
Yeah.
Crocs.
I'll go
Y'all see
to an
this
event in
episode,
Crocs. You might never know.
He showed up at the
summertime.
Blue Note in Crocs. It's summertime.
Some of those is the best things.
First
Like,
of all, if I'm the first person to show up to the Blue Note in Crocs, give me my respect.
gangster. Yeah, I wish I would have wore Crocs coming here when I came to see Rob in the summer.
So on that note, what's next for Smoke Dizzy?
Shit, man. What's next for me, man? I want to. Well, shit. Not even what's next. What's now?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have my podcast also, the Personal Party Podcast.
Looking forward to it.
Yes, looking forward to having you. Shout out to my brother Show Broadway. I also have a plethora of projects dropping this year by the grace of God. Starting with Flying Lotus.
Mm-hmm.
A EP we have named Flying Objects.
Mm-hmm.
I got some good people on there that I haven't worked with before that I'm pretty sure the world would be happy about. Working on part 2 with Pete, Don't Smoke Rock 2.
Okay.
It's just sitting on my computer.
You do need a reminder to not smoke rocks.
Yeah, we do need a reminder. Me and Young Guru have an album that's just sitting on my hard drive.
Shout out to Guru. We need you on the show too.
Shout out to my brother Goo, Yoda. And I'm currently doing my sports betting show Monday through Fridays on Caffeine. What's the parlay? Follow my Instagram. Follow the Instagram, even though I'm just guiding people to my Instagram as a reference. I'm not an Instagram guy. I don't let it consume me as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
But if you say something to me, I'll probably see it.
You know what time I'm on. You know, I don't have a problem with that at all. You know what I'm saying?
I know what time you on. But you know, I do my best to not allow it to consume my days.
No doubt.
Because I'm still unraveling and trying to become whole with life again.
That's right.
I don't want any more unnecessary distractions. Smoke This on Instagram.
No doubt.
Follow me. I'm here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got the Kush God. It's our honor and our pleasure to have you bless our show. Thank you for coming on. Give it up for Smoke Dizzy.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Honored, humbled.